mean, the biggest thing I would always say, like my learnings from all of that, is have contracts for everything. And I say that today, you know, still to this day, everything you do is bound by your contracts. And I don't think businesses value it enough. But when you really need it, you'll be really thankful that you had a contract.
I love that you said that, because I remember when I started Scrunch and we started signing our first clients. So this is my other business, influencer marketing agency.
Yes.
I remember when we first started getting the yeses, like I felt so weird about sending a contract to someone. I don't know what it was. Like I felt like almost like I didn't, like it wasn't real. Like, yes, they'd said yes, but I didn't quite believe them yet. And I also like, I feel like because my sales style is so friendly, I almost feel like sending a contract and an invoice was like too professional and too not friendly. I was like, but in saying that, I only made that mistake once.
You do. That's true. You only do it once. Yes. And so did you rectify the situation for not having a contract? Did that come out in the right way?
So no, so it was a really bad, horrible lesson that cost us a lot of money. But I learned the lesson that you always have contracts, and yes, it was an expensive lesson to learn, which is why I love that you said it. Cause I'm like, if we can tell everyone not to make this mistake, please don't make this mistake. So yeah, it was really horrible. Ended up costing us money. We had to, so the client didn't pay for their campaign, and we ended up having to pay influencers that had done work. So we were out of pocket and blah blah blah, which is horrendous. But yeah, again, we then sent ironclad contracts with cancellation clauses to anybody who said they wanted an influencer campaign from them. So
awesome.
It's crazy.
And again, if contract sounds, and because I'm similar to you, like, you know, conversation. And again, when I worked with bigger businesses, was that we'd have to do an agreement, which generally got, you know, it was like back and forth, but it was always the most time consuming part. So for me, I was like, well, I don't need to do them now because it's just me, you know, it's my business. I get to decide if we do them. And I paid a lot of money for my contracts and I didn't use them. So one client, similar story, where I had done the work, and then I went to invoice and no reply. They wanted me to do more work. They just didn't. I was like, that's fine, I'll do more work, but you need to pay my first invoice. And again, you know, kind of 2 months went by. It was about, I think we got to like 10, 12 weeks. And in the end, I had a meeting, and I'll take a step back. I ended up passing it on to my lawyers and said, can you go after it? It was not a big amount of money. And my lawyer said, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's going to cost me probably as much as the invoice would to get them to proceed. And I said, yeah, because it's a point. I'm making a point. Like you cannot get me to, you cannot engage me and do all the work and then not pay me, because the benefit of my contract would be that I could then fall into enforcing some of the terms. I've also then got late payment clause, things like that. So therefore I would have then gone, well, it's fine, I can cover my costs because this is what they're going to have to pay. They've, you know, they've signed a contract. And so now it doesn't matter if it's $1,000, I will still send out and I call mine an agreement. So again, like a services agreement, because it just feels more aligned with what I'm doing. So services agreement, I have a non-disclosure agreement. I work with a lot of businesses to tell me everything. And so I sign an NDA, and then we then have the first payment up front. And if they don't pay the first payment up front, we don't work together. So that's the process. And again, that bit's scary. If you think about that as your first, second, third deal, and to us, we go, okay, it's another barrier. It's another barrier to saying no. Or you've said yes, but what if I show them the contract and then they now say no? You don't want to work with them if they're not going to sign that contract. You'll find somebody else.
And the interesting thing I found as well was the bigger the company I worked with, the more they expected it. So they expected a contract and they expected specific terms, and almost, you know, if I wasn't meeting that, then I wasn't looking professional as a business. So it was kind of, and I actually started working it into sales conversations and using it as kind of my test. How close to closing are we? Like, you know, what kind of payment terms do you typically work with? Or is this okay? Or is this okay? So that by the time you get to the end where you are ready to sign a contract, you've already talked about loosely everything that goes into it. So nothing should be a surprise. So it feels a lot more comfortable for you to send anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that comes into your process. So again, it's like also this is moving through, and these are your buying signals, as you said, like you're doing like there, you're doing a trial close, you're, you know, you're positioning some options, you're getting feedback. If they say, oh, I'm not sure, I'll have to come back to you, or let me know what you recommend.
Yeah.
That's like a, oh, I'm not sure. Okay. But again, if you don't ask it, you don't know. And if you're fearful of not winning something, you are giving that energy off to the client anyway. So if you're showing up from a, oh, please say yes, then if you show up and don't ask the real questions and don't move your opportunity forward, they're going to know that you're desperate for that sale, and nobody wants to be desperate.
No, and that's exactly right. And I think the quicker, though, that you can uncover whether somebody is right for you or wrong for you, the better, right? Because it'd be far better to ask the pointed questions that help you uncover that this person is very keen and your ideal customer, versus kind of just skirting around all of the important issues and just wasting so much time with people that aren't ever going to buy from you anyway. So yes, it might feel a bit uncomfortable, but in the long run, that is going to be such a better investment in your time.